Morning children. Today I am going to start with the development of male gametophyte. Before entering into the text, let me explain the things with the help of diagram children. See children, here you can see four diagrams named as A, B, C and D. See, this is the diagram. We can see a cross section of anther. From the anther lobe, pollen grains are released, and the diagram A shows the structure of pollen grains. In this you can see outer layer exine, inner layer of the pollen grains called intine, and the center part is called nucleus, and where the germ layers of less thickening in the exine region are called as germ pore. And in the second diagrams, that is in the B diagrams, we can see a two newly structure called vacuole is present, and apart from that as it is nucleus also present. In the C diagram, we can see that the nucleus undergoing mitotic cell division, the nucleus undergoing cell division, and form the two different cell, one is vegetative cell, another one is generative cell. Okay children. Okay, next one is, you come for the figure E. In the figure E, actually they did not show that vegetative cell only develop into pollen tube. Okay, actually there are two cells in the pollen grains, one is vegetative cell, another one is generative cell as per the figure D. In the figure E, the vegetative cells are developed into a pollen tube, and the generative nucleus enter into the pollen tube, and the tube nucleus is present at the tip of the pollen tube. As of figure F, the generative nucleus undergo division, and the tube nucleus present as it is at the tip of the pollen tube. As of figure G, the generative nucleus divided into two male gamete, and one tube nucleus is present at the tip of the pollen tube. That's it. Okay. So, this is what the diagrams represented the development of male gametophyte, right. So, now if we enter into the text, it will be easy to understand for you. Okay. So, the microspore is the first cell of the male gametophyte and is haploid. The development of, which is the first cell of the development of male gametophyte, is microspore. The development of male gametophyte takes place while they are still in the microsporangium. So, where the male gametophyte development takes place, it is in the microsporangium. The nucleus of the microspore divide mitotically to form vegetative and generative nucleus. Okay. So, inside the microspore, the nucleus divide mitotically. What type of cell division has taken place in the microspore? Mitotic cell division. Because of the mitotic division, the nucleus of the microspore divide to form a vegetative cell and generative nucleus. One is vegetative nucleus, another one is generative nucleus. So, a wall is laid around the generative nucleus, resulting in the formation of two unequal cells. Okay. See, if we see the figure D, above the generative cell there is a wall in a white color is formed. Because of that, we could see two unequal cells in the pollen grains. Okay. So, this is due to the formation of wall above the generative nucleus, right. Because of that, generative cells and vegetative cells are in unequal size. The large irregular nucleus bearing with abundant food reserve called vegetative cell, and a small generative cell. So, there are two cells in the pollen grains, one is a large and a rich food source of vegetative cell, another one is small generative cell. Generally, at this two cell stage, the pollens are liberated from the anther. So, this is an important thing. When the pollens are liberated from the anther, it is in dash celled stages. Okay, it is in two celled stage. Generally, at this two celled stage, the pollens are liberated from the anther. In some plants, the generative cell again undergoes a division to form two male gamete. In some plants, the generative cell again undergoes a division to form two male gamete. Okay. So, the pollen is liberated at two celled stage. In 60% of the angiosperms, pollen is liberated in two celled stages only. That is, one is it possesses two cells, one is vegetative cell, another one is generative cell. Further, the growth of the male gametophyte occurs only if the pollen reaches the right stigma. Okay, at the two cell stages, the pollen reaches the stigma. If it reaches the suitable stigma, it started to development of further. Okay. So, suppose if it reaches the unsuitable stigma, it will not go further development. So, the pollen on reaching the stigma absorb moisture and swell. Once the pollen reaching the stigma, it absorbs the moisture and from the stigma and swells up. Then intine grows as pollen tube through the germ pore. In case the pollen is liberated at two cell stage, generative cell divides in the pollen into two male cells after reaching the stigma or in the pollen tube before reaching the embryo sac. Okay. So, now the intine grows as a pollen tube through the germ pore. Through the germ pore, intine is the internal layer of the pollen grains. It grows as a pollen tube through the germ pore present in the exine region. In case the pollen is liberated at the two cell stage, the generative cell divide into pollen into two male cells after reaching the stigma or in the pollen tube before reaching the embryo sac itself. The stages in the development of male gametophyte is given in the figure. Please you go through it. This what the development of male gametophyte taken place in the angiosperm of plants. Okay. Next we are going to discuss about the female reproductive part, that is the gynoecium. You know very well, androecium is the male reproductive part of the plant and gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the plant. The gynoecium represents the female reproductive part of the flower, that you know very well. The word gynoecium represents one or more pistil of a flower. Okay, gynoecium consists of one or more pistil of a flower. The word pistil refers to the ovary, style and stigma. These are the basic concept you know very well, right? Okay. So, actually gynoecium is made up of one or more pistil and the pistil, each pistil consists of three parts: basal part ovary and a stalk called style, and the terminal portion of the pistil is called stigma. A pistil is derived from a carpel. The word ovary represents the part that contains the ovules. The stigma serves as a landing platform for pollen grains. Okay. So, you know very well, by the definition of pollination itself, we come to know that stigma is the platform that receive the pollen grains from the anther. What is the definition we can say for pollination transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma? So, it is clearly understood the platform to receive the pollen grains during pollination is stigma only. Okay, stigma serve as a landing platform for pollen grains. The style is an elongated slender part beneath the stigma. The basal swollen part of the pistil is the ovary. The ovule are present inside the ovary cavity, that is locule. Ovules are present inside the ovary cavity. The name of the ovarian cavity is called locule and the placenta. Next, gynoecium, that is carpel, arises as a small papillate outgrowth of meristematic tissue from the growing tip of the floral primordium. And when the floral buds are arising, the gynoecium arises as a small papillate outgrowth of meristematic tissues from the growing tip of the floral primordium. It grows actively and soon gets differentiated into ovary. So, this floral primordium which grows actively and soon get differentiated into ovary, style and stigma like that. The ovules are megasporangia. Microsporangia is the Male reproductive part. The megasporangia is called what? Female reproductive part, that is ovule. The ovule or megasporangia arises from the placenta. The number of ovules in an ovary may be one as in paddy, wheat and mango, or many as in papaya, watermelon and orchids. Okay. So, the number of ovules in each ovary will be differ. Some plants they have only one ovary, in some plants they have many ovaries. Okay. So, the examples are given here, please refer it. Next we are going to see the structure of ovule, that is megasporangium, structure of ovule. This you learnt in your lower classes itself, that means in 10th standard itself learned for the structure of ovule. Okay. Ovule is also called megasporangium and is protected by one or two covering called endeguments. A mature ovule consists of a stalk and a body. The stachopuniculus, also called a funicle, is present at the base and it attaches the ovule to the placenta. The point of attachment of funicle to the body of the ovule is known as hilum. It represents the junction between ovule and funicle. In an inverted ovule, the funicle is adnate to the body of the ovule, forming a ridge called raphe. So, in an inverted ovule, actually this funicle is on the upper surface of the ovule we can see. So, and it form a ridge and the name of the ridge is called raphe. The body of the ovule is made up of central mass of parenchymatous tissues called nucellus, which has a large reserve fluid material. Nucellus is enveloped by one or two protective coverings called endeguments. Endeguments encloses the nucellus completely except at the top where it is free and form a pore called micropyle. The ovule with one or two endeguments are said to be unitegmic or bitegmic. If ovule with one integument, it is called unitegmic. Tegmic means what? Coat. So, if consists of only one coat, it is called unitegmic. If it consists of two coat, it is called bitegmic. Then the basal region of the body of the ovule where the nucellus, the integuments and the funicle meet or merge is called chalaza. So, basal region of the body of the ovule where the nucellus, integument, funicle meet or merge is called chalaza. There is a, okay, there is a okay. There is a oval sac-like structure in the nucellus towards the micropylar end called embryo sac or female gametophyte. It developed from a functional megaspore formed within the nucleus. In some species unitegmic tenuinucleate, the inner layer of the integument may become specialized to perform the nutritive function for the embryo sac and it is called endothelium or integumentary tapetum. Example, Asteraceae. There are two types of ovule based on the position of the sporogenous cell. If the sporogenous cell is hypodermal with a single layer of nucellar around it is called tenuinucleate. Normally 10 uninucleate ovules have very small nucellus. Ovules with subhypodermal sporogenous cell is called quasi-nucleate nucellate type. Normally these ovules have fairly large nucellus. Group of cells found at the base of the ovule between the chalaza and embryo sac is called hypostase. And the thick walled cells found above the micropylar and above the embryo sac is called epistase. The structure of the ovule is given in the figure. Okay children, so I go through that text. Now I explain the structure of ovule with the help of diagram. Okay children. Okay. Actually ovule which has two region, one is the stalk, another one is a body region, right? The stalk region which are called as funiculus, the stalk region which are called as what? Funicle. Here it is given funicle. Actually this funicle are supplied with vascular tissue xylem phloem, that is what given here, vascular supply. Okay. So the stalk which is followed behind the ovule is called funicle. The funicle is the region which help to attach the ovule into the ovary wall. The place where the funicle meet in the ovary is called hilum. Okay. So that's it about stalk or funicle of the ovule. Next we will come for body region. See, when we see the body region, here a blue color structure we are seeing, isn't it, children? And this blue color structure, name of the blue color structure is called nucellus. You can see with that marking parts. And the cells are present in the nucellus, that is the nucellus are made up of mass of parenchymatous cells, mass of parenchymatous cells, and this is the region of the body, and it is made up of mass of parenchymatous cells. The nucellus are surrounded by integuments. There are two integuments are present in the ovule. Some ovules have only one integument, some of the ovules have two integument. If the integument is if the ovule consists of only one integument, then you need tegment. If it consists of two, it is called bitegma. Okay, that's what, based on the number of integument can classify ovule into two types. Okay, right, leave it. So if we see the figure, if the integuments are continuous throughout the surroundings of the ovule அப்படினு பார்த்தா, no, at the base of the ovule the integuments are left in one area, that we can see. ஒரு இடத்துல integuments cover ஆகாம it leave a small opening, and the opening is called what? Micropyle. Micropyle, above the micropyle the structure called embryo sac is present. The embryo sac consists of nucellus and central nuclear region, and then antipodal cells all there. Okay, so this is what about the structure of what? Ovule, about the structure of ovule, right? Next sorry children. There are two types of ovule. We can classify the ovules based on the position of sporogenous cells. We can classify into two types. Okay, based on the position of sporogenous cells, ovules are two types. One is 10 uninucleate, another one is crassinucellate. Okay, 10 nucellate and crassinucellate. In tenunucellate, ovules have very small nucellus only. Ovules with subhypodermal sporogenous cells are called crassinucellate. Ovules with sporogenous cells of hypodermal cells with a single layer of nucellar tissue around it is called tenunucellate. Okay, so this is what 3 mark question, differentiate between tenunucellate and crassinucellate. Normally these ovules have, sorry children, normally these ovules have fairly large nucellus group of cells found at the base of the ovule between the chalaza and embryo sacs. Between the chalaza and embryo sac there is a group of cells are present, and this is called hypostase, and the thick walled cells found above the micropylar layer is called epistase. Okay, next one is types of ovules. The ovules are classified into 6 main types based on the orientation, form and position of micropyle with respect to the funicle and chalaza. Most important ovule types are orthotropous, anatropous, hemianatropous and campylotropous. These are the most important types of ovule. Let's see with orthotropous. In this type of ovule, micropyle is at the distal end and the micropyle at the funicle and chalaza lie in one straight vertical line. Example, Piperaceae, Polygonaceae. So when we take orthotropous, micropyle, if we see the place of micropyle is at the distal end, and the micropyle, funicle and chalaza lie in the one straight vertical line. Example, Piperaceae, Polygonaceae. Okay, let's see the figure of, if it is there. Yes, it is orthotropous. You can see here. Micropyle, it is present at the distal end, you can see. And here down the gap is called chalaza. And nucellus, all the three, micropyle, nucellus and chalaza are present in a straight vertical line, and this is called orthotropous. Next one is anatropous. Anatropous, if we see, the body of the ovule becomes completely inverted one, so that micropyle and funiculus come to lie very close to each other. This is the common type of ovule found in dicots and monocots, okay, which is the most common type of ovule seen in the dicot and monocot plants is anatropous type. In anatropous type, ovules become vertical, inverted, completely inverted, so that the micropyle, funiculus are lie very close to each other. This type of ovules found in dicot and monocots. And hemianatropous, in this type the body of the ovule is placed transversely and at right angle to the funicle. Example, Primulaceae. See, sorry children. See, when we see the hemianatropous type, see how the bodies are located. In previous two types, the body are located in vertical position, but in hemianatropous, the body is located in a horizontal position. So, what will be the result? The funicles and the micropyle are placed in distance way, okay. Then amphitropous, the campylotropous, the body of the ovule at the micropylar end is curved and more or less bean shaped structure. The embryo sac is slightly curved. All the three hilum, micropyle, chalaza are adjacent to one another with the micropyle oriented towards the placenta. Example, Leguminaceae. In addition to the above main types, there are two more types of ovules. They are amphitropous and succinotropous. In amphitropous, the distance between the hilum chalaza is less. The curvature of the ovule leads to horseshoe shaped nucellus. Example, some Alismataceae. And succinotropous, funiculus is very long and surrounds the ovule. Example, Cactaceae. So, these are the common types of ovule we can observe in the plant, all plants. And I will wind up the class with this, children. And next topic, megasporogenesis. Let me continue in my next class. Now the homework given for you is explain the structure of ovule. Is the only question, and you have to practice diagram wherever you have diagram in the lessons. Please children keep the book and practice, okay. Don't forget to practice the diagram, it is very essential. So, practice all the diagrams which are present in your book, okay. So, the homework given for you only one question, that is structure of ovule explained with diagram, okay. So, bye children.